Joanne Hatting is 59 years old. In the past 2 years, she's made 3 trips to Canada from her home in Denmark. She has one goal: to find her biological mother. She's been searching for 26 years.
I do remember that I was between 5 and 7, I would say. I remember my parents giving me a book about the adopted animals at a zoo.
Why did they give you the book?
How do you tell a child that the parents that are sitting in front of you are not the parents? How do you tell a child that your mom couldn't keep you for some reason?
What was the impact?
I remember sitting in front of them and I remember being so stunned. And I remember the sadness that was inside of me. That here were 2 people sitting in front of me telling me that they are not my parents. And it was like, well, when is she going to come and get me? Where is she? How does she look like? Who is she?
A simple question with quite a backstory involving one Lorna Gawley, 19 years old and single, when she gave birth to her first child and put him up for adoption back in 1954. It was Montreal in the 50s. Like many North American cities, there were thousands of young unmarried women forced to give up their babies for adoption, a shameful secret they shared with few.
I met a man who seemed to be very fond of me, and of course I had sex. Again, I got pregnant. It wasn't long after I'd had the first one, so.
Soon, Molly will be a young woman, having dates, going to dances in lovely romantic dresses.
Sex was a taboo subject in the 50s. So was birth control, illegal in Canada until 1969, a time and place where premarital sex was sinful, and Lorna was in a bind. On January 18, 1957, still unwed, she gave birth to her 3rd baby. She was named Joanne Hatting. 7 days later, adoption papers were signed, and Joanne's file was sealed.
The gray baby market was legal to a certain extent in those days. It was handled between doctors and a lawyer, and not with the social services. So it's something that happened outside of the social services. So that's what we call the gray baby market, and I'm one of those.
Joanne grew up with adoptive parents. They moved from Canada to the US and then Denmark. Her journey to find her mother started when she herself became a mom. But this was long before the internet or DNA tests. She had little to go on.
The province of Quebec is a closed, sealed, filed province, meaning that we don't have access to our original birth certificates, meaning that we don't have the names of our parents.
In fact, the mother whose name she didn't know married 5 months after she gave birth to Joanne. Lorna Gawley told her husband about her babies and swore him to secrecy. He kept his promise for over 6 decades, but she never forgot her babies.
I used to go to bed at night and think, oh my God, where are they? What are they doing? Or are they being properly looked after, you know? Who's looking after them, you know? Oh yeah, it was very, very often I used to cry at night and wonder where they were, you know. So it was Hurt. Yeah. It hurt. But I guess I should have realized right at the beginning.
Janet Carty is the second baby Lorna gave up for adoption. She and Joanne found out about each other and have been Skyping each other ever since.
I hope she's on. There she is.
She lives in Vermont, but has made the trip back to Canada to see Joanne.
Oh my God.
I don't think I have ever been not ever seeing a person before and feeling the way I did, hugging and crying, and that first hug was just unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable. To know I had another sister, especially one that was so close in age to me.
Janet is 1 year and 21 days older than Joanne, born in 1955. She started looking for her biological mother in 2000, not long after her adoptive parents died.
I wanted to find her, and I certainly was hoping that she was alive at this point. Yes, to meet her, to tell her that I loved her, and to just form a relationship with her.
Her birth records were closed too, but by mistake, an official released enough information for Janet to track down her mother only 8 days after she started looking.
I cried for days on end before I met her, and couldn't think straight, couldn't do anything right. Worrying about it, you know, wondering what she was going to think when she met me.
An improbable reunion when adoption records are sealed. On that front, Quebec lags behind. Several provinces have passed laws opening adoption files. But in Quebec, the only concession to adoptees was to release non-identifying information about birth mothers. That came in 1999, and Joanne immediately applied to Quebec's adoption agency. She then waited 16 years to get some details about her birth mother.
Is there a word that you would use to describe the process? One word?
Disgusting.
Frustrated and getting nowhere in her search for her mom, Joanne decided to get her DNA tested. She had results within weeks.
On February 14th, 2015, the results came in.
And told you what?
I had 1,003 cousins.
Many of her DNA matches clustered in an Acadian village in Nova Scotia. She reached out to her relatives, but then her detective work took an abrupt detour. What she found was a possible link not to her mother, but her biological father, and a special meeting with a potential half-sister, Florence Dion.
Oh my gosh, we look so much alike. We do.
You got my dad's eyes. I got lots to tell you. Family history.
Oh, yeah, we have the same eyes. And the nose.
And the nose. The nose. Yeah.
And the smile.
So basically, I've got some pictures of my dad to let you know what he was like. This is my father, and this is his sister Muriel. And those would be his parents. So, do you have questions about your possible father?
I'm sorry, but I keep coming back to this one.
Pictures of your own kids.
Yeah.
Holy crow.
Holy crap. Sorry. But the face is here. The eyes are here.
There was another woman, and I knew that she was young, and I knew that she was poor, and I also knew that she was a lot of fun, and my father really liked her.
For Lorna, it's ancient history, but she vaguely recalls a brief affair with an older man, the father of one of her babies.
He said he did want to marry me, but I wasn't really in love with him. So I met my husband, and so I fell in love with him.
It would be a long-lasting love, her marriage to Lee Palmer. She did her best to forget the babies she gave up and build a happy home with Lee, with children of their own. It turns out Wayne Palmer, their eldest son, became the missing piece of the puzzle for Joanne.
When I saw the picture of my brother, then I knew I was on the right track. I mean, that was what really gave me the hope that this was actually my mom.
So literally, what happened when you reached out?
My mom did reject me. She would not acknowledge that I was her daughter.
I didn't remember anything about Joanne, unless I forgot it. Maybe knew that I was pregnant, but forgot all about it, put it out of my mind or something. I don't know. Maybe that happened. I don't know. But I didn't know anything, really, about her until she appeared on the scene. And my sister phoned me and told me, she said, "You have another baby, girl." And they said, "Oh, yes. The DNA says that you had another child, and she's called Joanne."
Wayne's DNA test confirmed it. Now she's about to experience a moment she's been imagining for nearly 3 decades.
Hi, Mom. Hi. How are you?
This is the first time mother and daughter have touched each other or looked into each other's eyes.
Okay. Yeah, I like your sweater you have on. Such a long time. Yeah. The project was to find my mom and to find the truth, maybe not all the parts of the truth, but to find out who my family is, to find my siblings. Now you're gonna be here for a few days.
Yeah.
You wait, we're gonna have so much fun.
We're gonna have so much fun.
Lorna never expected to experience this. At the age of 81, she's sitting next to the 2 babies she gave up for adoption 60 years ago.
You said we were going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
That's right. You said we were going to have so much fun. You should have stopped there, and you take your finger, and you wish.
The reunion wasn't everything Joanne imagined. Shared bloodlines don't guarantee family bonds. That may take years. But Joanne's circle is now more complete.
I mean, I have been fortunate enough to find my mom, but there are others like myself that are still searching, way up in their 70s, and still don't have an idea where they come from and what their truth is, because the secrecy still lies upon us.
Secrets don't always last forever, especially when the yearning to know one's roots is such a powerful force. Duncan McHugh, CBC News, Kemptville, Ontario.